Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field. Historically, over the last 5 years, about a third of soybean sales to China would be booked. China amounts to 25% of our total U.S. soybean crop. So that would be 8 or 9% of the whole U.S. crop would normally be on the books with China right now, and we have 0. That is alarming. The farm economy as a whole is struggling. Inflation has caused our cost of production to rise drastically on every front. Commodity prices, in particular soybeans, are down about 50% from where they were 3 years ago. And our numbers are deeply in the red. And we send this letter to President Trump because we've been talking for months about needing to have sales in place, a deal in place, a phase 2 type agreement that has purchase commitments along with a level playing field on trade with no tariffs. And we haven't had anything happen, unfortunately. And our appeal to President Trump and his administration is make soybeans a priority in any trade negotiations that are taking place. Soybeans are the #1 agriculture export to China. And in the last trade war, it was 71% of the losses that we had as American farmers. And they're critical.
Yeah, so if we look at, and we're going to divide. So I'll stay with grain and oilseeds because that's what I do day to day. But I just have to say one thing about livestock. For livestock folks, we're in good world for them right now. So I'd love to be able to have as good a world that they're having in GNO, but we just don't. And so there's just so many things, and it's really a supply story this year. When you think about across the globe, we haven't had a year where every country's almost saying all 8 cylinders where we're getting full production. And that's where we are right now. It's also too a bit of a dichotomy in the US is that we're building corn stocks, but the world is not. It's just the opposite in soybeans, where the world's building soy stocks and we're not. And so it's a very weird world, but the fact is we just have so much supply in the world, that's just going to keep prices, really on the defensive.
Sir, and you said, I love you. Mr. Trump, I need to see the fruit of your love.
And I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on. I just would like to see somebody help us get our markets back. We need our exports, and we just need to be paid for what we do. And that's not happening. And we're in real trouble.
I'm out here in the farm fields of Illinois. This is a bean field that just turned brown in mid-September. And there's a lot of concern over where the product that these farmers in Illinois have raised is going to be going and what kind of price they'll get for the crops they've raised. I grew up in this area. I went to Little Cayman High School. It's about 2 miles north of here. And I went to school with all the farm kids, and I even grew up in eastern Pennsylvania and went to school with Amish and Mennonite kids in Lancaster County. And growing up, I had an uncle who ran a farm in upstate New York. So I have some history with an empathy for farmers, because I watch how hard they work to get this crop on the ground, and its timing and the rains in spring, whether they come or not. One year it was too wet, the next year it's too dry. It's tough being a farmer. But what's even tougher is growing all this crops and having all the equipment and debt you need to be a farmer, and then be cast aside by things like tariffs. And that's what's so confusing to me. The people out here in farm country, a lot of them have Trump signs in their lawns. There's a huge one up the road here. When I'm cycling over the summer, I see them all over the place. Probably see 10 to 20 in a 40-mile ride. And that indicates to us that farmers are big into Republican values. And that's the other side of the coin here. What is the ideology driving people to want to be Republican? Well, over the centuries, that we've had farming here in the United States, there's been a lot of deception by conservatives. The Dust Bowl came about because people were told to go on out, God will help you, and rain will follow the plow. And that was a lie. And what we wound up with is agricultural conditions that basically turned the entire Great Plains to dust. And there's sort of a similar thing going on in Illinois in many states, because soils are not in a great condition here either. And there's just sort of been this profit-oriented idea that it's your job to go and grind up the soil and get what you can out of it, get the best price for it, and we'll take care of the rest. You know, it's that classic sort of go, go, go ideology that people pride themselves on in America. But, you know, sustainability is a real problem. That's true in terms of economic markets, where a lot of crops from the United States are sold to other countries, for example, China. And now we've imposed tariffs on China, and guess who winds up paying the price? It's Illinois and Iowa and Wisconsin and Missouri and Nebraska and all these farmers that, you know, work their lives trying to sustain their crop output every year. And Trump doesn't care about those people, but what he does do, and this is sort of his method, he has never had a good grasp of forecasting policy. He bankrupted casinos, for instance, right? And many of his businesses failed, and those that did sort of succeed were dependent on creative bookkeeping. The guy is not a good planner. He could never be a good farmer. He sucks at everything he does. But somehow he came up with this let's do something about our markets idea with tariffs, and they've never been proven to work. And right now, something like 86 to 90% of the tariffs are being absorbed not by foreign companies, but by Americans paying higher product prices. And the farmers are the ones that get kicked right in the nuts. And what does Trump do? He uses taxpayer money to pay them off for the fuck-ups that he did. And that's the sick aspect of it. And all these guys with Trump signs out here, they're happy to ask for handouts now when many of them apparently don't like, you know, the idea that immigration people come here and, oh, they're using our tax dollars. Blame immigrants for everything. Well, guess what? A lot of our farm production, especially things like fruits and vegetables and everything, are reliant on immigrant workers. And so Trump is so fucking dumb about what really happens here on the earth that he's screwing everybody over. And these farmers out here, you sort of have to have empathy for them because they've been lied to. They've been deceived. And we need small farmers as well as big farmers. But during Trump's first term, when he first messed up with farm markets, Sonny Perdue, his Secretary of Agriculture, said to American farmers, tough luck, go big or go away. And so corporatized farming and the seed crops owned by giant firms like Bayer and Monsanto and all of that are taking over. And if we don't have any...
Watch this little 1-minute clip and then let's talk afterwards about this farmer, Scott Brown.
Scott Brown said they are struggling to afford the cost that is needed just to take care of the farm.
The prices that we're getting now are prices like they were when we were children, and what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now. I mean, the price of a combine when we were kids was, you know, in the 20,000s, and now it's 100,000.
I farm 800 acres by myself. I can't afford any help. I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. How's the guys farming 5 and 10,000 with 20 hands and $1 million combines and $1 million drills going to make it work?
But for Brown, there is something that rounds out all the issues that they are facing, the tariffs.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. When you try to sell a product, okay, U.S. soybeans leaving New Orleans without the tariff to China are cheaper than Brazilian soybeans at the current market. But when you put the tariff on top of them, Brazilian beans are cheaper.
So how can this be fixed?
In the short term, they have no choice but to mail us a check. I don't know a farmer that likes the check program. Nobody wants to take taxpayer dollars, but nobody wants to go broke. Nobody wants to lose everything.
That sounds a lot like socialism, Scott, and we just don't do that in this country. Now, we don't help people, Scott, but I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to pray for you, Scott. Dear God, thoughts and prayers. Amen. You're going to get the same bullshit that you give little children, God's children, when they're fucking murdered and identified by their dental records. Thoughts and prayers. Scott, there's just nothing we can do for you, man. We just can't. This sounds like a mental health issue. That's what it sounds like. It's actually not the farm equipment because, you know, the farm equipment doesn't move itself, Scott. It's actually people that do it. So it actually sounds like it's your problem. I mean, I would probably we'll get some help. But we had to cut that funding for mental health, Scott, because, you know, we really have to balance the budget. You know, the autistic kids that can't get their help because the Department of Education was dismantled. You didn't seem to care about them. Women that have a 52% increased mortality, like in Texas, because Roe versus Wade was overturned, you didn't really care about them. Officer Sitnick that died the next day. The officers that have long-term disabilities that were beaten with American flagpoles on January 6th, you know, because the white man's a patriot. Somehow you didn't care about them. Don't care about people getting due process. You really don't care about anybody except for yourself. Don't care about people losing 16 million losing Medicaid, Medicare. Don't care about food or SNAP benefits being taken away where people are starving. You rejoice the Gulf of America because, you know, you're a patriot, you're America, you got guns. Yeehaw! So thoughts and prayers. Shove your cross right up your ass, Scott. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And all you have done is given a shit about yourself, Scott. It is who you are. It is who you've always been. Me, me, me. The party of selfishness. You literally only voted for yourself. And every 4 years, you ask yourself the same question. First, are you Republican? Check, check, check. Own the libs, baby. I want universal health care. I want you to have a living wage. I want you to be able to sell your crops. I want you to be able to retire. I want you to be able to sell your farm to your generation. But you know the difference is you couldn't vote for the black woman because you're racist, Scott. You voted for the modern day Klan leader because he was the white man. Felonies, insurrection, rape, sexual assault, white supremacy, very fine people. Grab them by the PUSSY, going into girls' locker rooms, going on Epstein Island. No, there's nothing I can do. Sorry. Hey, no one's perfect, but my farm, give me free money. Thoughts and prayers, Scott. Hey, thoughts and prayers. I'm sure if you just pray hard enough, Scott, Jesus will send you money because that's how thoughts and prayers work, Scott. So how about this, Scott? I have a deal for you. When you get off your ass and actually do something to save the lives of innocent women and children and men that are shot by schools, then we'll have a conversation. Then maybe one day you will actually hear the word of God talking to you instead of what you want to hear. How about that, Scott? Does that sound like a plan? Or is that just a bridge too far? Because then you're going to have to get a shit about somebody else. You have yourself a white day, Scott.
Hi family, good afternoon to you all and welcome back to this channel once again. If you're turning into this channel, please do also like, comment and share and turn on the bell notification that which time I upload new video be the first to be notified. To my returning subscribers, you guys are the best, and my new subscribers, thank you all. You know, ever since Donald Trump became the president of America, or the people that voted him, or the farmers, or the Latinos, or the people that voted him are crying. Now the farmers are crying because they are losing a lot of things, a lot of soya, a lot of things are going down. I don't know why Donald Trump chose to do his people like this. Seriously, this is becoming too much. Their crying is too much. Their crying is so touching. So you that watch this clip or video, what do you think that will become their fate? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I mean, they didn't do bad thing by voting him. They thought that he would take care of them. They thought that he would do what he promised them to do as a Christian. But he go in there and turn against his people and start doing what they don't like. So I want you to share your thoughts in the comment section.